Hello and welcome to a special Meet Your Co-Hosts edition of all the WrestleManias. Since we're just starting out, we thought it would be a good idea to give you a little background on who we are and how we came to produce this podcast. As we mentioned in our first episode on WrestleMania X7, we started this project as a way to pass the time during the pandemic, and it's been a great way to revisit our love of wrestling and connect with other fans.
I'm Rich Sigwald, co-host of this podcast. I'm a legislative reference librarian by day, armchair wrestling booker by night. For years, I kept my wrestling fandom under wraps, but I have been a fan since about age 6 or 7, when my parents let me rent a VHS of WrestleMania from Errol's. From there, I watched WWF Superstars every Saturday morning. Monday Night Raw was a large part of my formative years well into college. To this day, I still get amped up whenever I hear Jim Ross welcome me to any wrestling program. Some of my favorites over the years have been Bret Hart, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ric Flair, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. Depending on what day it is, I am likely to be of the opinion that the Montreal Screwjob was a work. As for a favorite WrestleMania moment, there's still something magical about the jabroni Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant in front of 90,000 people.
Yes, the Silver Dome of WrestleMania 3. I'm your co-host, Tim Hackman. I'm also a librarian. I'm an academic librarian by profession, and thus much too uncoordinated to have ever considered a career in the wrestling ring, though I did box for a little bit when I was younger. I grew up on 80s era WWF World Wrestling Federation superstars like Hulk Hogan, Randy Macho Man Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and Junkyard Dog. I got out of the habit of watching wrestling as I got a little older, but I picked it up again in the late 90s in the peak Attitude Era. That was a glorious time to be a fan. Steve Austin, Mick Foley, and The Rock were all in their heyday, and we gathered every Monday night in the dorm lounge to watch Stone Cold feud with Mr. McMahon. I'd say I remained a casual fan through the 2000s and the 2010s, but I've recently started watching much more regularly since the advent of AEW. My all-time favorite wrestler is Bret Hart, followed closely by Stone Cold Steve Austin, so it's probably no surprise that my favorite WrestleMania moment to date is from WrestleMania 13, when those two faced off and did a double turn. Austin turned face and Bret turned heel, and there was a whole lot of blood. It's an amazing performance and a major moment in the history of the sport.
So that's a little bit about us. Drop us a line at WrestleManiablog@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at WrestleManiaPod, or find our YouTube channel at All the WrestleManias. We'd love to hear from you about your favorite WrestleMania moments and get your questions and comments on the show.
So thanks for joining us for this special Meet Your Co-Host edition of All the WrestleManias. Find us and download, like, and subscribe at allthewrestlemanias.podbean.com or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Until next time, remember, sooner or later, everyone taps.